Today we're going to see if swinging around Manhattan is actually worth your precious free time. Many people play superhero games because they want to feel like they are that superhero. Thankfully, Insomniac Games delivers that by not only making you feel like Spider-Man, but his alter ego, Peter Parker, as well. Let's take a look at the basics. I want to start with web swinging, because, well, this is Spider-Man. Yes, web swinging works, and it's fun. So, don't worry folks, web swinging works in this one, it works well, and it is very much fun to do. Moving on to combat. I will say that combat involves what you would hope combat in a Spider-Man game would. There's plain old hand-to-hand with some of that going on while you're in the air. I mean, he is Spider-Man. There's web shooting, and there's the use of some special Spidey gadgets. The trouble with combat is, you're often going to be swarmed by enemies, and when you are swarmed by the enemies, the camera is awful. Sticking to combat for a second, I want to say that I personally prefer to play stealthy in any game that will allow me to, and to stay stealthy as much as I can. I get a lot of satisfaction from sneaking around and getting things done on the down low. When you slip into the role of Spider-Man, you'd think that you could be stealthy most of the time. You know, doing things like crawling around on walls, zipping from place to place, and tucking enemies up in cocoons of webbing. Sadly, that is not the case in this game. In many of the combat events, you can start off stealthy, but you're going to be forced into the brawler combat system with timed actions and dodging of multiple goons, no matter what. And it's repeated over and over again. Now, you can almost always complete stage 1 of any event fully stealth, but then no matter what, you become instantly visible to all of the enemies for the start of stage 2. To me, that was the only thing that got to be truly annoying. Moving on from combat, there are a number of Spidey suits that you can unlock, and each one, well, most of them, come with their own special power to help you along your journey. Thankfully, once you unlock a suit and its power, you can mix and match them up however you like. So if you love one suit, but you love another suit's power even more, you can put them together, no problem. Sadly, there weren't many great powers, so I actually used the same power throughout most of the game. You also have 3 skill trees where you can spend points that you earn in order to up your game against your enemies. Now, by the end of the game, you should be able to fill up all 3 trees. I mainly went for the web slinger tree when I started off. In addition to your suits and your skills, there's a number of gadgets at Spidey's disposal as well, each with their own upgrades. Again, I found I had a couple favorites, and I mainly stuck just to them. There are a ton of side missions that you can do, and lots of stuff to collect if that's your thing. However, just like the goon battles, all of those side missions can get repetitive. Gonna add in though, that in order to try to keep things fresh, there are optional objectives that are listed for many of the tasks, so that if you complete those objectives, you will be rewarded with points to help you unlock the suits and the upgrades. It's kind of an encouragement to get you to play the same thing again and again, but differently in order to get the rewards. That encouragement didn't work for me. On top of the side missions, there's a bunch of puzzles scattered about. Now, those puzzles are optional, but doing them will unlock points that will help you unlock things like your upgrades. Now, it seems like that's just more grinding, but honestly, those little puzzles help change things up a bit. The map of the city isn't available until you unlock it, and you do that by using radio towers. However, unlike other games where you simply climb to the top of the tower and voila, there's your map section, in this game, you're going to find a small puzzle at the tower where you need to unscramble a radio signal first. Now, it's not a huge addition to this game, but I did like that added puzzle. The bosses are standard boss battles, where there's patterns to learn and you need to use some of your skills that you've purchased. But in addition to these boss battles that I really liked, was that in some cases, you not only need to use that skill that you've earned, but you sometimes need to coordinate it with part of your environment in order to win. It felt much more like a Spider-Man type situation. You know, brains over brawn. Here's the quick breakdown. As far as length goes, that really depends on what you choose to do. If you want to go out and find all the stuff and do all the side missions, you're going to have a much longer game than if you just rush through the storyline. That story is fantastic. I don't want to ruin anything for you. All I'm going to say is you will certainly want to finish the game just to see how that story ends. Game plays very smoothly. My only issue with it is the repetitiveness of some of the battles, and of course being forced out of stealth, whether or not I liked it. Music and sound effects are magnificent, and the graphics are incredible. Manhattan was very much brought to life. As far as fun goes, for the most part, this game was very enjoyable. The problem for me was slowed down a little bit in the middle, and many things that were available to me felt unneeded and very unnecessary. It was almost too much of a good thing. In the end, I'll say if you're a fan of Spider-Man, you're going to love this game. If you're a superhero fan, you'll enjoy this game. If you just want a good game, this one's going to slow down for you in the middle, but the story itself is very much worth a playthrough.